I think it is time we understand there is nothing wrong with having two organizations in one region. The alliance of Sahelian states is not contradictory to ECOWAS. We have the Manu River Union within ECOWAS. We have the Senegal River Basin Organization within ECOWAS. We have the Gambia River Basin Organization within ECOWAS. What matters is to work together as a community. And this is the understanding we have reached with the IOS countries. I was in Mali in May to meet with the three countries at the foreign ministers level. And the conclusion of that meeting was I risk repeating myself by putting more stress on the importance of governance. I am of the view that if we have to fix only one thing in Africa, that thing should be governance. And I'm saying this because looking at Africa's trajectory, Africa's development over the past years, or over many years, I've come to realize one thing. Those countries that have started off at the same level with Africa and today have surpassed us have one thing in common, or have one thing that I can attribute their success to. They seem to have gotten governance right. They seem to have understood what accountability is all about, what discipline is all about, and what results are all about. All of us, when we travel around, if we speak frankly among ourselves, we come back to express our impressions about the discipline of certain people, the discipline that certain regions have, and the sense of responsibility that certain regions enjoy. We don't come and say, oh, they had petrol, they had diamonds, this is why they are here. We say they have achieved the results they have achieved because they are committed, they have discipline, and they focus on results. Now, coming back to your question, regionalism can help our countries, and the Sahel included, by mainstreaming governance and making it an important consideration in the way we do business. And as I said yesterday, that does not mean we focus only on elections, but we focus on results, delivering results for the people. And you cannot deliver results for the people if there is no sense of accountability, if there is no discipline. This whole notion of patriotism and everything, it's more about accountability and discipline. So I think the role that regional organizations have been playing and should continue to play is to mainstream governance, to make sure governance stays at the center of what we are doing. You fix governance, you fix development. This is my belief, and I have seen it elsewhere, where regions or countries that have fixed governance, those are the regions we are admiring today. And we might wonder how certain places that might not necessarily be in our narrow sense of governance might not be the best in our governance parameters. They do have components of governance that underline what they are doing. These are countries that shun corruption. These are countries that make sure integrity governs whatever they are doing. So our region...
Dr. Toure, I would come back to you because I got a lot of questions from the room. People wanted me to ask.
I think one thing we need to understand is that ECOWAS is a reality that we are all living today. It suffices to go outside West Africa to understand the difficulty of traveling within Africa. An entrepreneur such as Dangote has recently lamented the fact that he requires about 30 visas to travel within Africa. And my response to him, my response to him was, well, thank God, no West African countries is among those countries that would impose visa requirements on you. Now, the visa-free movement did not fall from the sky. It was a deliberate policy, a deliberate instrument put in place by ECOWAS. ECOWAS is, until recently, the only region where with an ID card or a simple passport you can move freely from Lagos all the way to Dakar. You don't have this in many African regions. ECOWAS hasn't stopped there. ECOWAS is a trading bloc. This is a region where our local produce or produce that satisfy the market, the rules of origins, can trade freely in a market of 400 million people. Beyond this, ECOWAS is looking at infrastructure that seeks to connect the people from Lagos to Abidjan through the Lagos-Abidjan highway, and from Abidjan to Praia through Banjul here. Just last month, I think we had a team here that came to explore the possibility, the possibility of a bridge over the Banjul-Bara bridge, and a study is being commissioned. Now, in addition to that, you have electricity connectivity. We have the West African Power Pool, where as we speak, 14 member states are now connected. And the whole idea is to enable these 14 member states to trade in electricity, to make it easy for a Gambian utility company to source electricity from the cheapest source within the region. Now, these are concrete examples that seek to advance or serve the interests of the ordinary person. Do we have challenges? Oh yes, we do have challenges. But which region of the world does not have challenges? What is happening in our region is more of a reflection of the global reality. And we need to be conscious of this. The world has never been at such a bad shape in many years. So what is happening in West Africa? It's more of a reflection of those global realities. Going forward, we certainly need introspection. And this is why we are working on a summit of the future that will enable us not only to celebrate the 50 years of integration, but allow us to reflect on what is working well, what needs to be jettisoned, and what needs to be improved upon. So yes, ECOWAS is here to stay with us. With whether we are going to keep everything as is, certainly not. Nothing is constant. But ECOWAS is a reality that we would have invented if it was not here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Toure.
I think going forward, we need a compact in 4 areas. The first is in peace and security. Up to now, the challenge we have faced in the area of peace and security is fragmented approach to peace and security. We will all remember the Takuba, the Barkhane, the J5 Sahel, the MINUSMA, Accra Initiative, MNJTF, and all that. These are important initiatives, I must say. But their impact on the ground has been limited because they have been fragmented. The fragmentation causes problem of coordination, problem of ownership, and as a result, their impact remains limited. What we are proposing at ECOWAS is that we should have these various initiatives, important as they may be. They should not remain fragmented. They need to be coordinated at a center, and that center is our regional body. It doesn't mean all member states should be part of Accra Initiative or they should be part of the MNJTF. But the fact that they are coordinated from a center builds ownership. It promotes ownership and it makes coordination much easier. That is one thing in the area of peace and security. We need a coordinated and owned approach to peace and security in the sub-region. The second area is deeper integration. We need a compact on deeper integration. How do we do this? We need to be able to trade more among ourselves. As we speak, intra-community trade is around 12% in our sub-region. The continental average is about 18-20%, depending on which report you are looking at. Regions that have been integrated sufficiently are trading at a level or at a tune of 60 to 70%. The European intra-community trade in Europe is about 70%. In the ASEAN countries, it's about 60%. We are only at between 15 and 20%. So we have a long way to go. So the compact we need in this area is to boost intra-community trade. How do we do this? First, we need to build the capacity to produce. Sufficient investment must be done in our productive sectors so that we can produce. It is one thing to have market access, but a totally different thing to have what to trade or what to sell in that market. So we need to build the productive capacity of member states. We also need to build the infrastructure. It is no secret that movement within the region is more difficult than moving from the region to another region. So we need to build the infrastructure. This is why ECOWAS is putting a lot of stress and a lot of resources on these major corridors, Lagos, Abidjan, which the studies have been completed, and we understand the investment outlay required is about $15 billion, but with a good economic rate of return of 15%. So this is where we are with regard to this. So beyond this, we have the Abidjan prior corridor, which covers this part of the region. We also need to build or address the energy deficit. Energy consumption in our region is perhaps the lowest. You can't produce and sell. You can't build the productive sector with the sort of energy access we have. So we need to work on this. So this is, in a nutshell, the second compact we need to have. The third compact is human development. We need to focus on education. Education and education. And if I have $1 to spend on education, I will put it on the education of girl child. This is because we as Africans, we see how much the women are bearing the brunt of poverty, how much women are carrying that. We need to educate women. We need to train the girl child to be able to defend herself sometimes from man-induced poverty. If you go to our villages, some of these child marriages we see can be addressed by training girls, by educating girls. And some aspects of poverty we are facing in our community can be attributed to some of these traditional practices of marrying of children at very young age. So the education of a girl child and education in general must be second compact we must have. Now, my co-panelist has spoken about these phenomena of young people taking the risk of crossing the Mediterranean Sea and all this. In many instances, in the Gambia here, we call it the back way. In many instances here, the lack of opportunity goes hand in hand with the lack of capacity. So we need our compact in the area of education should not only be to train people to speak Shakespearean English or French, I don't know, of Calvin or Voltaire, I don't know which one you call it. People should be able to employ themselves. They should have the capacity to generate employment for themselves. Sometimes we have it here. Competent people are making more money than a state minister or a director general. Some competent, technically trained people. So we need to include this in the education compact. Okay. And the final compact is sustainable and equitable development. This means addressing climate crisis. You see, we hear conflict in some areas that pitch herders against farmers. Some of that is climate related. This is why adaptation is extremely important for our region. We need to fight for resources for adaptation, but we should be conscious of the problems of climate crisis that we find ourselves. So in response to what you say, to your question, we need these 4 compacts going forward. Compact on peace and security, compact on governance, compact on deeper regional integration, and of course sustainable development. But let me just use one minute to re-echo what I said yesterday. I think it is time we understand there is nothing wrong with having 2 organizations in one region. The alliance of Sahelian states is not contradictory to ECOWAS. We have the Manu River Union within ECOWAS. We have the Senegal River Basin Organization within ECOWAS. We have the Gambia River Basin Organization within ECOWAS. What matters is to work together as a community. And this is the understanding we have reached with the IOS countries. I was in Mali in May to meet with the 3 countries at the foreign ministers level. And the conclusion of that meeting was endorsed by the Council of Ministers of ECOWAS as well as with the heads of state, by the heads of state. And the conclusion is Until something is concluded, status quo remains in the sub-region. A Malian continues to enjoy the same rights they enjoyed when they were citizens of ECOWAS. A Gambian continues to enjoy the same rights in Mali. The same thing with trade. Gambian goods that are going from here to Mali should enjoy market access just like they have been enjoying. So there is no contradiction, and I think it is our strength lies not in having no problems, but in our capacity to surmount some of those difficulties. And going from here, it should be clear in our minds that yes, we are having some difficulties, but those difficulties, as we speak, are being resolved. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The question relates to production. What do we do to get off imported goods or imported items? I think as a believer in free market, I will not propose anything here that will get us off from imported items, but what I think we need to do is to be able to trade equally, because trade benefits all sides. We should be able to trade equally. Now, how do we assume food or assure our own food security? That is a different thing. But I think to boost our own production, we need to invest. Clever and wise investment is required. And in some cases, particularly in the area of agriculture, heavy investment is required. This is what we would have to do, perhaps at the expense of other sectors, to be able to boost production at the agricultural level, to be able to boost production at the industrial level. This would require a number of concurrent activities, because, you see, we are in a system that has locked us in a very unjust manner. We will have to have a dialogue, or more dialogue, at the World Trade Center level to make sure we produce and sell in a fair manner. We are in a system where you have market access. They will tell you have market access, but it's only for the primary produce. The moment you transform your produce, tariff escalation or tariffs kick in. So these need to be negotiated. But in response to that question, briefly, we need proper investment and very wise investment in the productive sector, in agriculture and in value addition, to be able to make a difference. I am not saying we will not have imported items. I think trade benefits everybody, but it should be a win-win arrangement. Regarding the single currency, the date that has been fixed, or let me assure you, the single currency is very much on ECOWAS's table. As we speak, the leaders have taken the decision to launch the single currency in 2027. Now, as you know, single currency requires both the political will and certain economic fundamentals that need to be corrected. Some of those fundamentals sometimes lie beyond the control of the state. Fundamentals such as debt levels, fundamentals like deficits, the fundamentals like inflation. As you know, many of our member states, in addressing the challenges of COVID, had to go for more debt. And that, in a sense, was beyond their control. This is why the date for the launch of the single currency has been moved to 2027. The last time the Convergence Council met, they confirmed this in Abuja, that the single currency will be launched in 2027. Now, whether it will be launched by all the countries, that is the question, but it has never happened anywhere. Those who remember the launch of the euro would recall that it was launched in some countries, and those that were not ready were supported until the time they felt ready. So the same proposal is on the table now. Single currency will be launched perhaps virtually in 2027, because as you recall, the euro was launched in 1999 as a virtual currency or invisible currency, and in 2002 it was launched as a physical currency. So the process is there, and it is very much on the cards. ECOWAS doing well and communicating poorly, I agree with you. We have not been doing good communication. It is only now that we have tried to revamp our communication outfit, but it was a function that was really dysfunctional. We are now trying to improve on it, and I must say we've been taken unawares. As Minister Gajo said, we found ourselves confronted with a social media that was going at a speed of lightning. And as an institution with poor communication function, we could not catch up. And I don't think any country can catch up with what is happening now. When I consulted partners, this is an area they all lamented about. And this brings me to the question, our youth are in between the rock and the hard place. They are being abandoned, but also manipulated. If we're talking about youth being abandoned, we should recognize this, but we should also recognize that they are being manipulated, particularly by deep fake. You see, even the trained eyes cannot tell the difference between the deep fake and reality today, let alone the untrained eyes like us. I mean, you can be presented in China this afternoon when you are sitting in Banjul. So these are some of the dangers we are facing, and our youth need to be alerted to this. The second, the reform of the supplementary protocol. The supplementary protocol has been a subject of discussion at various levels in Council. The last time it was objected to by two countries, including this Gambia here. Some time ago it was objected to by Gambia and another country. I'm a Gambian, I can mention Gambia. Recently, 3 countries have raised reservations, and those reservations required some consultation, and those consultations have been going on, including with Senegal, including with 2 other countries, and this is where we are to ensure that we have a convergence on the provisions of the text before we present it for adoption. But it is very much alive and on the table. ECOWAS's financial autonomy. As a regional economic community, ECOWAS has a an admirable level of autonomy. As we speak, between 70 and 80% of ECOWAS activities are being financed by the community levy. And all member states are up to date except 2. For the first time in 19 years, Nigeria paid up 100% of its community levy last December. That shows the mark of confidence that the community continues to have in ECOWAS. So, as we speak, all member states are up to date with the payment of their community levy, and we do hope this continues. The 2 countries that are a little bit reluctant are being engaged at all levels to ensure that they make their payments. You see, the community levy is being paid by you and I. ordinary citizens who are using imported items are paying for the community levy. So for countries not externalizing those resources is in a way illegal, because they are receiving the money on behalf of ECOWAS from citizens. So using it differently is like using illegal money or using the resources illegally. So this is what member states have understood, and they are all complying with the remittance of the community levy. Now, no man is an island. ECOWAS has strong partners, and one of those partners is China. Now, if a partner offers you a facility, the most you can do is to welcome that. This conference hall we are sitting in is a product of partnership. So the new office facility of ECOWAS is a product of partnership, and I want to use this opportunity to thank the Chinese government for being so generous. The office facility should be completed by the end of this year, and it was built at a tune of $32 million. We are very grateful for that, but it does not show, that does not mean we are not financially autonomous. Mr. Chair, I hope I have responded to the question.
You have. Thank you very much.